Hi, I'm Jo.
And I'm John.
We've been married for 8 years now, and we have 2 beautiful children. Grace, who is 3 years old, and Gwen, who is a year and a month, so 13 months. And
So wait a minute. Tell us about what the girls are doing today in the Little People Village.
The village. So we have 2 children that are very well loved by family, and they currently own almost all of the Little People sets.
So what do we have? Fire department?
No, actually no. But now we're going to get that.
One that
Thank
we
you.
don't have.
No, but we're going to have it soon.
So we have a school.
School, 2 houses.
A jungle?
A safari, to be specific.
Okay.
A cruise. Noah's Ark. Nativity scene, but that is put away. Gosh, there's more. Did we say school?
Yeah, so we're actually going to put the video right up here, and we'll show you the whole thing.
And so all of that is all over my house right now, and it's very overwhelming for me. But when I look back and I watch them play, it brings a little bit of joy. But as people are watching and seeing them play, they think, oh, it's children at play, and I look at it and I say mess everywhere. But they're happy, so it makes me happy.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of what 2019 was for you, and kind of like change or what you did in 2019.
Yeah, well, 2019 definitely was huge growth. The amount of books that I listened to in 2019 was more than I've done in my whole life. And so I'm 28, so I'm 28, almost 29. So at the beginning of the year, John had gone to a conference where he had heard of this book written by a woman, so he thought I would enjoy it. And I was like, yeah, I don't think I'll like it, but I'll try. And when I listened to that, it really just kind of sparked this something inside of me that made me wanting more, to hear more, to learn more. It was actually great that it started with that book, because it opened my eyes to his world and the business side, where before 2019, the only book I had ever read or listened to was about dragons and werewolves, and nothing educational. So,
vampires.
Don't leave out vampires. So when he gave me that book and it got that spark, and then it was amazing. Just a couple months later, I was like, John, I listened to this book on business, and what's your next one? I want to hear another business one, which is very strange to me, but at the beginning of the year, if you would have said I would be listening to to business books at the beginning of the year, I wouldn't have believed you. But it's definitely created more connection between John and I.
And she's being humble. So she actually finished 50 books last year. She listened to 50 books, which was awesome. And I've always kind of read books, listened to books, but it's really changed our marriage and our relationship, because growing up, I don't think it was actually said, but it was always, the man's supposed to go out, take care of the business. And when you come through that door, like, you're not supposed to bring any work home. And I'm an entrepreneur, and that's really, really hard to do. And so there was always this battle where I can't talk about it. Like, I'm supposed to keep it over here and come home and be this happy family man, when work is a part of every man's life, and it's an important part. It's something that God put inside of us. All that to say, it's really was just books that we read. And we kind of got thinking towards the end of the year that we dedicated a lot of time. I mean, on average, the average book we listened to was probably 8 hours. And that's a lot of time in a person's week, especially for a mom, 2 kids, and not everybody has that much time to set aside and listen to a book, or read a book. And so we kind of got the idea that, man, and really we were finding that these books were in every one of our conversations, right? Like, every time we were talking to somebody, another couple, or I was at work, like, it was always these books. That's what we would talk about, because we were reading them. They had ideas, different thoughts, and it consumed our conversation so much that we said, man, maybe everybody doesn't have the time, but maybe we can just sum it all up into 4, 5, 6, who knows how long, we don't know yet, but minute video, and just give like, hey, here was a book we read, we listened to, and here were kind of the highlights of it, and here were kind of our takeaways.
I was really excited the first time you talked to me about it, because I'm bringing all this knowledge in, and it gets me excited, and things are helping me with my marriage, with my children, with myself, and how I view myself. And so I want to give it back out. So, and sometimes it can be awkward to go up to one individual person and say, you need this.
Right.
This, I thought, was a great way to do that without shoving it in someone's face.
And I think the really cool part is it's not like either of ours knowledge.
Oh,
like
right,
we're just
right.
repeating things that we've heard, and hey, we're trying this now, and I think that's what I really gravitated towards. I think it's really, we're young. We've only been married for 8 years. We have 2 young kids, so we're not really going to get up here and say, hey, here's how you rear your children. That's not the idea, but we can get up and say, hey, here's somebody who lived their life and then wrote it in a book and gave these things, and here's some practical truths that we're trying. And just trying to sum it up into a shorter version and get it out. Really, our plan is just to get it to the people that are close to us and our friends, because it's consuming our conversation. Or you don't have time to do it, just watch our video on it real quick. Like, there's 4 tips that'll really help you out. Like, you could start working on these or implementing them today, kind of on it. So that's kind of the idea behind it. Our plan right now is we're going to do 1 a week. So every week we're going to cover 1 book, and it's going to be, just real practical, real informal, nothing super structured. But usually it'll be a book we just read or listened to, and then at the end, I don't know if we'll do a giveaway. We didn't really talk about that, but somehow we're going to give away that book to somebody every single week. So we'll have a hard copy of it and we'll send it out, or if somebody wants to listen to it, or a Kindle version of it, we could do that, send it out that way too. But maybe if somebody is like, hey, that was whatever that you guys talked about in that book was really good, then we'd love to give that book. The first book we're doing, we'll give you a little teaser on, because it's going to come in the next day or two here, is
The Power of Habit.
So this is a book we read. I don't know when you listened to it actually, but I think it was about halfway through the year of 2019 that I listened to it. By Charles, I forget his last name now, but in the book review we'll tell you it. Really good book. Joe, tell us real quick, just give us like 30 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Nutshell. Don't give it away. We need people to watch our video.
Okay, I'm going to try. So it talks about just habits, and habits, the first thing I noticed from the book was that it's actually very easy to have a habit. You don't even know you have a habit. So the first thing I was thinking was like when I drive by that Starbucks and I'm like, I gotta stop and get it. And so now I actually think, is this a habit that I'm creating? Is it a bad habit? No, Starbucks is always a good habit.
I mean, it's right there on the floor.
Yes.
You can't see it.
Yeah. So when I have 2 kids, I have not that a lot of time, so I cannot sit down and read a book, so I do audio. So I'm always trying to find the certain times to listen to a book while I'm cleaning the house, dishes. So one thing I started doing is right when after I get up and I make my bed, I always put in my headphones right before I make my bed, and that's how I start listening to a book in the morning. So now someone had lost my headphones, and I would get ready to start making the bed, and I was like, no, I don't want to make it. I don't have a book to listen to. So without even trying, I created a habit to where I have to listen to a book while I make my bed. And so what's cool is it's so easy to come out with a good habit. That's not a bad habit. So can you imagine how many bad habits we have without even realizing it?
And I think the real eye-opener was they gave an illustration, remember when you first started to ride a bike, if you can remember, it was only a couple of years ago for us, but it consumed all of your brain power, right? Like you had to get up on the bike, make sure your seat wasn't too high. Then you had to lean off to the one side, you know, but you had to get going. So you had to have your pedal in the right position, and then you had to balance right. But then you had to look where you're going too, and pedal right, so your feet didn't fly off the pedals. And it like just consumed so much of your brain. And then all of a sudden, at one point, you didn't think about it anymore. You were kids, and you just ran out, grabbed your bike, and you were running, jumping on your bike, and talking to your friend at the same time. But that's because it got formed over to the subconscious side of your brain. Now it's a habit and like muscle memory. And the book really just dives into, and we'll touch on it a little bit deeper in our review, but into those habits, why you have habits, you know, and then certain ways to break a habit or change a habit. And I'm really excited about it. They gave some really good practical stuff in there. And I think that's one thing I really liked about this book, is that it was practical. There's a lot of books that are theoretical and great ideas, but you don't know how to apply it. But this was a real good book that made you aware of a problem that maybe you don't know of, and then it gave you practical solutions on how to kind of fix it.
Yeah, I love the making you aware that there's a problem, because you can't fix it unless you're aware of it.
So it's coming in a couple days. We're saying a couple, that way it gives us a couple days to do it, to be honest with you. But we're excited about it, so stay tuned. We're going to do one a week. We're really excited about it. And it's actually going to be on our YouTube channel that we just started. So you can subscribe to it if you want. But it'll also be on our Facebook pages and everything. So it'll be everywhere. But we're really trying to help our friends out and just put some good books out there and some good ideas. So that's it.
Over and out.
Under and in.